Why, hello there. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 37 of the Long Comics Book Club, a bi-weekly podcast about long comics, also known as manga and graphic novels. My name is Shane, and I'm the older brother. I'm joined by Spence, the younger brother. Spence, if you turned into a monster when you got really mad, what color would you be?
Be cool to be like I was gonna say purple, but then I remembered like the terrible Hulk ripoff, The Amazing Bulk is purple, and you don't want to be like a dollar store Hulk. So
No. Yeah, you don't want to be infringing on any kind of copyright.
yeah, honestly, I think like almost every Rage monster has its own color. So I don't know. Pink? Is there a pink monster? We'll go with
You
that.
can be a giant angry pink monster. Yeah,
Probably
why
end up
not?
looking kind of like blood. So hey, that could be intimidating.
There you go, the soft red Hulk. Of course, we are chatting about Hulk today because we are talking about Planet Hulk. This is a comic of the infamous Incredible Hulk, the big green Goliath, the green Scar, Hulku, uh, the Savarston? Question mark.
Oh yeah, how do you pronounce that?
There's going to be a lot of pronunciation questions
Yeah.
today. But today we are talking about Planet Hulk, which recently was re-released in a Marvel Premiere Collection
Yes, because it is the
format.
20th anniversary of Planet Hulk right now.
Wow, there you go. Well, happy 20th birthday, Planet Hulk. That is going to be our long comic that we are discussing today. So, for the first half of the episode, we'll be having some meaningful book club style discussion about Planet Hulk with some interesting facts, some reviews, some reflections, as well as a recommendation if you haven't yet read the book to decide if it's worth picking up. And then for the second half of the show, we are going to be talking about Thor Ragnarok as well as the Hulk in the recent MCU.
Yeah, really the MCU in general,
Really,
all that
MCU
stuff.
in general, and their interpretation of the Hulk, but a special focus on Thor Ragnarok because a lot of Thor Ragnarok actually pulls characters and other elements from Planet Hulk. So it's interesting, sort of comparing the interpretation and elements that uh, Taika Waititi used in that film. Then we will end off our episode with Spence introducing the long comic for the next podcast, which is going to be coming out on June 6th. And because we alternate between our long comic formats, it will be a manga for the next episode. And of course, at the top of the episode, I always want to give a big thank you to Vesperia Manga and Comics for providing today's long comic, by which I mean thank you, Spence, owner and proprietor of Vesperia, online at vesperiacomics.com and physically located at 1935 West Broadway in Vancouver, British Columbia. Spence, you carry Planet Hulk. You have this available for anyone who's
Yes,
interested. Yeah.
absolutely. As well as more, including
Yeah.
like say World War Hulk, next part in this
Whoa.
story.
Yeah. Or do you have the prequel? Is there, I think there's a prequel to this.
Not like named as such. Like
Hmm.
it isn't like there isn't like an iconic run that happens before this one.
Got
It
it.
kind of just is kind of notable that like two of the most iconic runs of Hulk are just like one right after each other.
Yeah, one right into the next. Well, we are talking about the first one, and so if you haven't yet read Planet Hulk, check out Vesperia, scoop it up, or also check out any of our other episode content. You could pick up Freerin, you could pick up 21st Century Boys, you can pick up any of the great Absolute series, anything and everything of Vesperia manga and comics. I even got my first models there the other day. I am now the proud owner of a Freerin trio set that has been established on my bookshelf. They're
And
building a
them,
snowman, which is timely for May. But hey,
yep.
uh, it looks
It,
great.
it'll still be there when it's snowing.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll just remind me of the colder times, which sometimes when we're sweating, it's nice to have that reminder. But while you're also checking out VesperiaComics.com, swing on over to social channels, drop a follow on Instagram and Blue Sky at Long Comics Book Club, as well as follow our show on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, any or all of the above, your favorite audio streaming platform. And if you like the show, give us a rating. We're excited to grow this year, and getting that kind of support and feedback means the world. And if you want to find all this stuff in one place, you can swing over to our link tree, where there's also a link to our Discord, which is the best place to have your voice heard and share your own thoughts on the things that we talk about on the show. So, moving into our book club discussion. So we were talking about Planet Hulk. This is written by Greg Pak. There's a whole bunch of different artists on it. Carlo, but the big names that they put on the front are Carlo Pagalian, Aaron Lepresti, and Gary Frank.
Okay, yes. So I think yeah. I think part of that's because there I don't when you were reading that you might have noticed there were like a couple like side stories and stuff that actually were in the middle there. I don't know if you noticed that those when those happened. So that's why they would have multiple artists.
I did not.
Yeah.
Wait, there was side stories in the middle of Planet Hulk?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There might have been some chapters you might have noticed you could actually remove, and the story would have still been functional.
Hold the phone. Well, we will be getting deeper into that in a second. But before that, let's just get out some info at the top. Suspense. So why did you choose Planet Hulk for our long comic discussion today?
Well, we hadn't done anything with the Hulk. I think you had put it out last week that we've done a whole lot more DC than we have Marvel, so figured throw in some stuff for the Marvel heroes. Planet Hulk's based like a great single contained story about the Hulk. And yeah, and it was the 20th anniversary, so why not?
Yeah, why not? With 20th anniversary, the special edition coming out. And yeah, excited to get into more of a Marvel character. So, for those who are not familiar with Planet Hulk, to give a plot synopsis that's on the back here, uh, it is a whole new world of hurt. Betrayed by Earth's heroes and exiled into outer space, the man monster Hulk has landed on the distant planet Sakar, ruled by the tyrannical Red King. Sold into slavery, Hulk becomes the Green Scar, the planet's mightiest gladiator, but his new master gets more than they bargained for when he forges a bond of brotherhood with his fellow fighters. Crafty insectoid Meek, the horrific Brood, wise rockman Korg, shadow warrior Hiram, and noble-born rebel LOA and her loyal guardsman Ski. Together, these gladiators start a revolution that could change their entire world or destroy it. It's savage sci-fi fantasy by award-winning writer Greg Peck, guest starring the Silver Surfer. So that's your plot summary. So, uh, if you haven't yet read it, heads up that we are going to get into some spoilers as we head into things, but the time codes are always included in the description if you do want to jump ahead and avoid any spoilers if you somehow haven't yet read this 20-year-old story, but you don't want things to get spoiled. Moving into it then. I love that they throw in the Silver Surfer at the end. That's like the big, hold on, wait, selling
Yeah.
point. All you silverheads out there. Or
Silver Surfer, he appears for like half of an issue.
Yeah, but he's the big budget guest appearance just so they
Yeah.
can put his name on the movie title.
Yeah, of course, but like at 0 point in history has ever the Silver Surfer ever been a bigger name than the Hulk.
No, I can't imagine so. My goodness, but what a treat of a book to read. I mean, the first thing right at the top is that as part of the Long Comics Book Club, we do try and read things that are standalone, that you don't really need to know what's going on before this to be able to understand it. Hopefully, it's a self-contained story. I was not expecting how great this would be as a self-contained story.
Yeah, there's a little, but like there's a tiny little bit at the start, but it's like immediately like they explained it very well. Like
Yeah.
Hulk's friends have launched him into space. That's all you need to
Mhm.
know.
And again, as you noted already, I know basically nothing about Marvel. Like my Marvel knowledge is essentially all movie based. And so I fully understood like you said, they do a great job of explaining it. You don't even need to know who's launched him. You just get the idea that they launched him, we think you're a threat, and then he ends up in this unknown
Yeah.
planet where he wasn't supposed to go.
Yes,
And then
they wanted to send him to like a nice paradise where he can just be alone and all that, but
Mhm.
nope.
No.
The Hulk gets angry and launches the ship off course.
Yeah, as Hulk does, and lands on Sakar, and then our plot
Yeah.
unfolds from
Which
there.
yes, like I think they call it Sword and Planet. It's a sword and sorcery world, but also science fiction. Like
Hmm,
it, it,
that's
it,
fun.
it it's a like it's a true barbarian story of like,
I haven't heard that name before, but I
yeah,
like it.
yeah,
That's a good name for it.
yes,
Um, so thinking about initial impact when reading this, really enjoyed how it's a standalone. I thought that's super cool. So if you're at all dissuaded because you don't know Marvel stories, have no fear. You can absolutely jump into this. Hulk is literally the only character that people would have a background of, and then all of the other characters are new,
yes,
other than the Silver Surfer appearance. But and Hulk makes him. I mean, what's also very interesting, and we'll talk about this more in our second half, is that this is not the Hulk from the movies.
no,
This is not movie Hulk. So, if anything, it was a full new cast of characters because I didn't know this
yeah,
Hulk. This guy was brand new to me.
and also a couple of the characters are like repurposed for Thor Ragnarok, and they have no connection
Mm,
to each other other than their names.
yeah, zero. But Hulk is incredible character in this. Wow, what a journey does he go on? There is so much that happens in this graphic novel, in this long comic. Um, there is a massive amount of plot and events. I mean, when you really think about it, it's that he starts in the gladiator arena as a slave. He gets freed. He creates this rebel group, this brotherhood, who rebel against the Red King, who overthrow the kingdom. They gain new allies along the way. There's a lot of different class struggles. They're dealing with essentially a bioweapon that's also a celestial creature that ends up also being an ally. And Hulk is sort of the whole way through. He's very interesting. How would you describe a Hulk? Is he, because in the movies he's very much presented as this is the big mean angry guy, but in this it's essentially just that he does what he wants.
Yes, he's like pure yeah, he's like he has no he's like pure chaos almost. Like
Yeah, but that also he isn't forced into chaos. He doesn't.
no, like he just wants to be he wants complete freedom to do whatever he wants basically.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
like there's a scene
you
early
can follow
on.
behind him if you want, but he's not going to listen to you. If you want to go, you want him to go somewhere else.
Yeah, free. He's like free will
Yeah,
incarnate.
that's probably a better way than chaos. Yeah, he's like yeah, he's like
Yeah,
willpower incarnate. Hey,
because there's
another green superhero with willpower incarnate.
oh, that is a reference to the Green Lantern. For
Yes.
those who do not know, I know that one, but it's a great example early on because you might assume that he's Chaos incarnate, but they're at a dinner, I think, and the two groups start fighting, and they call him and they're like, "Get over here! Like, help us, rebel!" And he's like, "No, I just want food. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not helping you." It's like, whoa. Hold the phone. So this isn't a guy who just like fights for the sake of fighting. It's that he does what he wants on his terms, which is very interesting how he becomes a hero out of that. And then, yeah, saves the planet, gets rid of the Red King.
Yeah. But then it
Every
all
he's gonna have a happy ending, and he has a happy ending that's really like idealistic. He has
yeah,
a
it's like
beautiful
it's
wife. He
truly
saved the
like
world.
utopian. Like everything
Yeah,
works out.
he's brought peace, and I was like, the second shoe is gonna drop, and
Oh,
then it does.
yeah. And the entire world gets destroyed. His queen dies, but
Yep.
it was caused by his ship exploding and his warband's
Mhm.
still alive. So now they want to get some revenge.
Yeah, and that then sets you up for the sequel.
Yeah, this is probably more than any other comic we've done, like just truly sets up the next one.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is also a self-contained story.
Yeah.
So there's a very clear start, middle, end to this, and you see the character arcs. You see Hulk essentially starts very, I don't, like we were saying, he doesn't really care. He's unattached. He's unmotivated. He just is reactionary. But then by the end of it, he has gained motivation. He
He
cares
becomes the king
deeply.
that they all want him to be.
Yeah, it becomes Planet Hulk, and he cares deeply, and you see this incredible growth of his character, and then devastating loss at the end, which very much felt like an incredible villain backstory. Because
Yeah.
I was like, if he, I don't know what happens in World War Hulk, but if he goes back to Earth and like
Oh yeah.
starts killing them, I'm like, I don't blame you, man.
Yeah,
Like, I would be
Hulk is the villain of Planet
furious,
Hulk, but like throughout
as
the
he
entire
should
story,
be.
everyone's like, Hulk's the villain through World War Hulk, but throughout the entire story, everyone's like, "Yeah, you brought this on yourself, guys." Like there's one point where like he's like Ghost Rider shows up and he's like,
Wait, don't spoil,
"No, no,
because
this isn't really a spoiler. It's because
okay,
Ghost Rider shows up and he goes, "Yeah, no, like this is legit. Like I'm not going to stop you. You have the right
yeah.
for your vengeance. See ya."
Right, because Ghost Rider's all vengeance. That's
Yeah,
very
Spirit of
interesting.
Vengeance.
Yeah, boy, does Hulk deserve vengeance after what he goes through in this story. Because yeah, he really goes through it. And you have this incredible cast of characters. I appreciate that on the back of it, they really talk about all of them. Because they are actually really, this war bonded group are very interesting. And there's some really great characters that I assume don't really kind of continue in the Marvel universe, which is too bad because
Yeah, they all appear in World War Hulk, but
World
after
War Hulk,
that,
but not after,
I
which
can't
is
actually think of any other comic that has any of them in that.
so disappointing. The only one I was wondering, Loyal Guardsman Ski for
Yeah,
he's the
he's
one
the one
that
that
dies,
dies.
right?
He's the one
Okay.
that him dying causes them to like actually make themselves warbound.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. And that's sort of the starting of Hulk beginning. Because at first he's very much like, I'm just gonna do this all on my own, and then it
yeah,
really starts to bring together yeah,
yeah.
these warbound. Um, but they are such great characters. Wow, wow, wow. In particular are Korg, the Rockman, as well as Meek. Meek's
Yeah.
arc is
Yeah,
crazy.
the two ones that appear in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but especially Meek in particular, who starts off as this like little scrawny insect who everyone has to save.
yeah,
But then he loses his queen and he finds all
yeah,
this family he thought he's lost and
yeah.
he's
And then
furious and
then he learns like his species is going to go extinct now, and it's
mhm.
just yeah,
And then he evolves into this being this huge bug, and it's great. Then there's a lot of great moments because he does start out so naive that a lot of the conversation around Hulk and the way he sort of influences the world, it's a really interesting way that it's brought up in regards to Meek and his people and how they're like taught to be angry and vengeful, and that Hulk is the one teaching them that. And then having to essentially like unlearn that as they approach the end of the book and um some really challenging situations that they find themselves in, like the clan being enslaved
oh yeah,
and the queen being captured and
yeah,
a
and
lot of murky territory.
yes. Well, it's because there's like a whole there's a whole undercurrent of like yeah the king is like an absolute despot and terrible, but also like there's especially gets brought up later like the pink people still think they're like better even if the
Hmm.
king's like yeah
The Pinkies.
the
Yeah,
pinkies.
it's true. Yeah. So Hulk has to bring down those barriers. And yeah, I mean, there's even that as they're approaching the end, there is that infighting between
Yeah,
the bugs and the pinkies. Because of that. Yeah, I mean, literal racial tension and
yeah,
uh that's been ingrained and really pushed by the Red King. Um
yeah.
and there's this
And there's also just a random alien brood in the the
yeah,
um
there's Brood hanging out. Brood
because
is a
as you said you're not as you know the alien brood is like an X-Men villain.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
So they just yeah, and they're like a hive mind thing, and it's one little alien brood that's been cut
Mm,
off by the rest of the.
right. And she maybe has like a thing with Meek at the end. I think so.
Yeah, I think it's kind of implied or something.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
implied that the two of them have a thing. Uh, but it's it's really interesting because the story, when you really think about it, is pretty simple. Where it's like Hulk gets a band of rebels, they go through trials, tribulations, and they overthrow the king. But there's so much that happens in there, and there's a lot of themes as well that are really interesting, that are really played up and that are really clear, but are still interesting, even if they're sort of like bonking you over the head about it. In terms of like class disparity, racial disparity, uh, just the way that you sort of try to other people you don't understand.
Yes.
I mean, even just thinking about what are they called? The hive virus thing.
The spikes.
Yes, the
Yeah.
spikes. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
even just the spikes.
which you assume initially, for good reason, are just like zombies. But
Hmm.
then you learn, oh no, wait, they're actually like a sentient race of people like who are literally starving. So
Yeah.
that's just them like trying to find any kind of food is their zombie thing going.
Mm. Yeah, and then it's this really emotional moment at the end where they return to the stars and it frees the memories of the people that they killed, and those memories return to the family members and they're all
Right before it all goes wrong.
cry. Yeah, right. Again, the
Literally like an hour
utopia.
before the entire world.
Well, at least the spikes
Yeah.
survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, they had it so good. I didn't want the thing to drop, and
Yeah, I know. But it's
um,
also it's a story. You can't have it.
well, I could have,
I
but
guess.
we haven't even mentioned Kara, uh, who is the other big character,
Yes.
who originally starts out as a villain, but recognizing what Hulk is trying to do and what the Red King is doing, eventually changes sides and marries the Hulk and is married to him for 3 days. She somehow knows that she's bearing his child, which I wasn't so sure about that.
Well, I don't know,
Uh,
something alien
something
biology.
something alien,
Yeah.
but
Which I also
uh,
think is another with despite all the themes of like racial tension and all that, we still have a villain who is so unquestionably evil.
oh yeah,
Like there is not a single redeeming quality to the Red King.
yeah. Every character in this is incredibly deep and complex and is doing the things that they're doing for like justifiable reasons often, or at least justifiable in their mind, not the Red King. He is
Yeah.
the exception. He is a terrible, terrible pinky and apparently has just always been awful. And he's the worst. He's awful.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's very satisfying when he dies.
Yes, which is
Uh,
perfect for like this kind of like anti-hero barbarian story. It's like
mm,
no matter how morally
mm,
questionable thing a Hulk does, at
mm.
the end of the day, the Red King is definitely worse.
It's true. Yeah. Something I did find interesting. I don't think the Hulk ever on screen kills anyone. He certainly
He kills a
sets up
lot of
a
things.
yes.
But I
So
don't know
he
if
is happy to
yeah.
destroy like lava monsters and
Yeah,
robots and
yeah. I think in the Coliseum, he kills a bunch of like those like death things. I assumed those
yeah.
were like people in suits.
I just assumed they were robots because at the end they're with the wild
Oh yeah, I don't
bots.
know. Well, maybe
No.
there's who. Well, yeah.
And there's some element of which, yeah.
And he
So
kills a whole bunch of zombies, and yeah, I don't know.
yeah, and I mean he also very clearly like sets up a bunch of like he blows up ships and stuff. You can kind of assume. So you assume
Y-
he is killing the
Yeah,
living creatures, which I mean, like you said, he's an anti-hero. It's he's not pulling a Batman, I won't kill anyone. Like Hulk's gonna Hulk. He's gonna do
Hulk
exercise his
smash.
free will. Yeah, Hulk smash indeed. But yeah, going back to Kara, his wife, like again, another really great arc. I think, and really you can understand her arc as well.
Yeah.
There's yeah, I think the main ones being her, Hulk, and Meek are the three that you see have the biggest earned arcs.
Yes.
Um, and hers is so sad. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like very reasonable because she seems like super
Uh,
like law based, but then the one thing she hates above all else, the thing that causes her to break, is the spikes because they're like the thing that
mhm,
caused turned her into her in the first place.
mhm. Yeah. And so she helps Hulk and they fall in love and they're happy and then she dies and it's very sad. It's not fair. And that definitely is the part that breaks Hulk.
Yes,
That
it's
that he
the old
comments
give
on.
it back thing. Give it back.
Give her
Standing on
back.
give her back. Yeah.
Well, no, he says yeah, I think he says give it like yeah, he says give them back. Yeah, he yells at the very end as he's throwing around this planet that's become fully destroyed, give them back, and then he just collapses and says, give her back.
Yeah.
So sad. Poor guy. Oh man, what a bummer. But
Yeah.
great characters, and hey, the Warbound are still all together right at the end there. So lots of different themes going on, like I was saying. So we talked sort of that there is all this stuff between like the Pinkies and the Bugs, and that people have their motivations. There's also some really interesting elements around like what makes a monster.
Yes. Are they all
Because
monsters?
are they all monsters? Yeah, I mean the Red King for sure.
Oh yeah.
Then the rest of them, it was just really, I thought that was a really great question. Like what makes a monster? Like who gets to define what a monster is? Because all of the Warbound are perceived as monsters. Well, not LOA or Ski or Hera, but the
Yeah.
Brood, Korg, and Hulk for sure.
Yeah. And
But
like Meek, even though his people are like numerous, they're still like
yeah, and they're
monstrous
like
people.
the native race as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just some really interesting ideas around the way that we create monsters and perceive them, and were we the real monsters the whole time?
Is Reed Richard the real monster for launching Hulk there? And
100%. I
yeah.
don't know what an awful thing for them to do. Poor
Yes.
Hulk. What a cruel, cruel thing. Um, yeah, and we really don't get a lot of Banner in this.
No.
Very, very little.
Which is
Um,
honestly, this is probably a good time to mention the thing earlier about like the side story in the middle there.
mhm.
So if you think about it, that little story of him Hulk fighting with Banner was not actually part of the original like the comic book. It was a like one shot side story thing,
Hulk fights with Banner?
like in his head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and like if you actually think about it, like that, you could remove that from the story, and the story would still function.
Okay, that's true. What
Yeah.
is also very interesting about that is one of those times where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of backstory happening here that I don't understand.
Mm,
That makes it like not as like I don't know who this queen is that we Hulk killed,
yeah. Honestly, I don't know who it is either. I'm
or
sure she's in
but
something from a story.
yeah, right. But
Yeah.
it also didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Was the other thing. It was just sort of nice to see that Banner is there and see them fighting and Hulk having that internal struggle and essentially being like, yeah, it is me right now, which is very interesting. So Hulk is a different person than Banner, a different entity inhabiting the same body. Is that right?
Yes. Asterisks.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So classically, yeah, they are just like straight up completely different characters
Hmm.
that both have the same thing, but like depending on era of comic, it's kind of implied like the Hulk's always been there for Banner.
Mm,
It was just that like the gamma radiation like just like gave him form. Like
mm,
he's like Banner has a fractured psyche even before the gamma bombs went off, kind of thing.
hmm. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in this he very much is fully separate than from Banner. Like he in no way identifies as Bruce Banner.
No.
Um, Something that's also very important to note for those who are not familiar with the comic book version of Hulk, fully articulate, fully regular
Yes.
thinking, very smart, very tactical, essentially just like a regular guy.
Yeah.
In
An
terms of like
angry guy,
speech
but
pattern.
like yeah.
Yeah,
And he still like refers to himself in the first person, but
yeah, angry, powerful, refers to himself in first person, but he doesn't go like me Hulk smash,
yeah.
Hulk mad. Like, no, it's none of that. He's like, and that was pretty early on that he was like, "You are the ambassador." And I was like, this is different than I was expecting.
Yeah. I believe it comes from the old like Lou Ferrigno television show was the one that really made him like dumbed him up a lot.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And then they just sort of keep doing that in film and television.
Basically, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that in the second part, but just for those who might not be aware, Hulk is the Bruce is very briefly in this, but part of why Hulk is really able to expand his character and have all these really interesting dialogues is because he is fully articulate.
Yes.
He's not unintelligent. He's fully yeah, again, he just holds a regular conversation.
Yeah. Which honestly, good comparison you can make with that character, perception versus actuality of written source would be the very easy direct character you could see inspiration from here, Conan the Barbarian. Because Conan the
Really?
Barbarian in the old Edgar Rice Burroughs books is like actually reasonably smart and athletic and stuff. He's
Hmm.
not just big, strong Arnold Schwarzenegger man.
I didn't know. I know nothing about Conan, so that's that's interesting. There you go. Who knew?
Yes,
There you
yes,
go.
and like yeah, Conan the Barbarian very much the inspiration for like sword and sorcery, this kind of thing with like
Hmm.
the anti-hero and all that.
Hmm.
Lots of Conan
Yeah.
the Barbarian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of fun influences. That yeah, you can certainly see in different ways in different medias. So thinking about the themes in this one, what do you think? What is sort of the biggest takeaway at the end? Because essentially, what we sort of learn is that peace is possible. It's just difficult, and that there's if you overthrow the 1% and the puppeteers, that it's possible for everyone to get along. But also, what's the point? Like, what's your takeaway
Yeah.
message from that?
That is it, that's a good question. And like there's the question of like, are we even done the story? So like, is this the final um like is this the final moral here? Or will
Mm,
more of it come? And
hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, presumably so in World War Hulk, but in this isolated story. So, uh, if you were to see just this one, and I guess that's one of the things. Do you not think thematically you can sort of have this in a bottle? Do you think that everything
You
sort
100% can. But
of
I guess I just think of, like this in a bottle feels a little more cynical than like it
mm,
in its the entirety of the story.
okay, fair. Yeah, it's very, yeah, I mean, you could honestly think about it in terms of like parallel it with global warming and the fact that it's like, sure, we can fight super hard, deal with like global inequity and all these global issues. And at the end of the day, we've already doomed our planet. So what's the
Yeah,
point?
yeah. I don't think it's that cynical, but
Hey, I mean, it's not far off though,
yeah,
because yeah, so with how this wraps up, so they reach the utopia, and then I mean, it is man has doomed the world and messed up something in the warp core that then explodes as a nuke, and it messes with the tectonic plates that then break and shatter the whole planet apart.
the world
Um,
breaker.
the world breaker, and he literally breaks it,
Yeah,
despite having literally jumped into the lava before and moved the tectonic plates back
yeah.
earlier in the book,
I
which
think
was pretty
smaller
hardcore.
explosion, less tectonic plates.
Yeah, but it's pretty sick. Because wow, I'm not familiar with Hulk's abilities, but have learned that he's essentially indestructible,
Yes,
um, and impossibly strong.
and yes, Hulk's strongest there is. Basically, yeah, he's borderline the strongest character in like fiction.
Yeah, dude is can basically do anything, is what I
Yeah,
learned. And also he bleeds plants.
yeah. That's just theming right there. That's yeah,
Mm, yeah, but that is an element that does build into the theme, just because that's part of what we haven't talked about yet, which is this idea around the Sakarsan. I think that was what it was called.
sure, called that.
It was either the World Breaker or the Sakarsan. I think I wrote it down. Uh, because there's this prophecy that there's going to be the Sakarsan will save Sakar. And so part of Hulk's rise is that they say he's the Sakarsan, but then some people say he's the world breaker that will bring the end of the world. What do
And
you,
could he be both?
or could he be? Yeah, what is your take on it? Which do you think that he's one of them? Do you think he's neither? What do you think on it?
I always kind of got the idea from the story that it was more like like he's not either of them. Like people are finding their own interpretation in the myths.
Hmm.
It's very like Dune in that mode. That it's like sure,
Mm.
technically he fits the like criteria of one, but he's not anything of that. He's Hulk, and like
Hmm.
people can interpret that as being
Mm.
whatever.
Yeah. Then really ties into the monster idea as well again. Just that sort of people can make you out to be whatever they want, as long as there's certain criteria that they get to define and control. Which is very interesting. That you could perceive him as a Sakar Sin, you could perceive him as a world breaker. It all just depends on your point of view and what your means are and what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. I yeah, I don't because I like you sort of said there, I don't think there is a clear answer. And nor does there need to be. He he was or he wasn't. Maybe it was that he was and that humans were the world breakers because
Mm.
humanity they're just the worst. Oh man. But the other things that I'm wondering about, do you think it had to be not a happy ending? I guess it had to
Uh-huh.
whole like why couldn't we have a happy ending?
Well, the correct answer is we couldn't have a happy ending because that would just be the end of the Hulk. Like the Hulk would not function. Like that, there would never be another. If this is the end, if the Hulk had a happy ending here, there would never be another Hulk story.
Right.
Like Hulk doesn't. This is not the life that you can always make arguments about like comic books desire to return to like the status quo and all that, but this is more even like the Hulk stories are not about peacefully ruling a planet.
Hmm.
So
No.
yeah,
So Hulk was is destined. Hulk is always destined to be the world breaker because
yeah,
his world is constantly breaking. That's
well
kind
put.
of cool. Hey,
Well,
we'll
very well
take.
put.
Whoa, yeah. He is indeed. He's the world breaker. Poor guy. But the looking now more at like a meta level, so plot great, themes awesome. Yeah, the writing is great. There's so much great dialogue in here. There's so many clear voices, I think is part of it, which isn't always easy to do, especially when you have a large cast of characters. But I mean, certainly part of it is that you have like Meek makes little like keek noises and
Yeah.
Hulk talks in first person and in shorter sentences. And so there's ways of conveying it that way, but just I love the way that it's written, and especially when you have the we haven't really talked about Harome, the Shadow Warrior, but like very prophetic and the way that he talks as well. You have all these really clear voices and then some great lines like, "Do you want a prayer? No, I want a sword." Like, yeah, that's some great action writing in there.
Yeah.
And it never took me out of it. Now that I think about it, like I was always very invested in this. It doesn't really slow down, doesn't really take its foot off the brakes, and you don't really know what's going to happen next. Which is part of why I think it's great that Ski dies early because it's sort of, hey, all of these side characters fully vulnerable.
Oh yeah. And it's like Mika initially had a bunch of like had like a pair of partners with him. They don't last very long.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Meek
and
also loses them.
a ton of other like random people are just gunned down across the
Yeah, that's
early parts
right.
of the
They're
story.
like, there's 16 of you in this gladiator arena. We need 9 of you.
Yeah.
Might go
It's
for
it's
it.
seven. It's seven. We need seven of you. The seven people
7,
that
yeah.
yeah, they become the seven
And
members of the war band.
there you go. And they all get chopped down. Crazy. Uh, super, but yeah, super great writing the dialogue. There's a little bit of, I couldn't figure it out for a long time. The narration, that's done by Kara, I assume.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she never says it, but I believe it's done. You realize later that it's Kara or Kira, or however you pronounce her name, the female warrior who worked for the Red King. And then at the end, when she dies, it becomes Hulk narrates because she can't anymore because she died.
Mhm. Yeah.
Heavy sigh. So sad. I'm so angry for him. Like I think that's also part of it is I feel his anger.
I guess we're gonna have to do World War Hulk at some
I
point.
mean, we don't necessarily have to do it. I'm absolutely going to read it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's when you know a book has been successful, because there is no doubt in my mind that I'm going to. I mean, I might literally tomorrow see if it's on at a local library and get World War Hulk, because I need him to get his vengeance, because I cared about this world and these people and this utopia that he worked so hard to create by breaking down these boundaries, and then the humans ruined it all again.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I have to give it a read because lots of stuff happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, lots of stuff happens
things as
as
things
I
do
tried to
in
say things
stories.
without spoiling anything.
Yeah, as things happen. Exactly. But yeah, lots of things happen in this one as well. Um, yeah, is there anyone from that gang that also sort of really stood out to you in particular that you found yourself drawn to? Like, are you a big Korg
Honestly,
stan?
I think Meek's the most interesting character,
Mm.
and let's just say his arc continues.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm glad, because Meek is super interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
because Meek, the bug that loses his queen, and Meek goes through it.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was
comes out
also the
tougher
first
for it.
member of the war band, basically.
Yeah, that's true. He's the one that really unites them, that people keep having to save him, and then he ends up being able to save them. Um, Super interesting. But the part that is also always good to be thinking about is the art. And
Yes.
this is good comic book art.
Yeah, it's going back to the Edgar Rice Burroughs Conan stuff. It like looks almost like straight out of like a pulp magazine.
Hmm. Yeah, it is detailed, it is colorful, it is action packed. There's so much to feast your eyes on that it's a lot of fun to look at, because there's just so much going on and it's so expressive. And panels aren't, there's different types of panels and sizes, and so they do like full panels, and there's just so many different things that they do with the visual medium, um, that it's also really explosive and exciting. That it's part of what makes it such a great read is the visual storytelling, which is important, obviously, you would
Yep.
think,
Oh
for
yeah.
a comic. So it makes sense as well that there's that visual storytelling element. That's awesome. Yeah, I love it. I could absolutely. I mean, part of it is also the subject matter. Like, I'm sure the art would get old if it was like the same thing over and over, but there's so many different like characters and races and places and things.
Yeah, they're constantly moving. So
Yeah,
you don't get tired of the same arena for so long because they're out of that very quickly.
they're out of that arena pretty quickly after sleeping with a couple of courtesans, which I also really appreciated early on. Because again, a lot of this was sort of um, upsetting my expectation. Because, yeah, immediately Hulk is articulate, intelligent, and sleeping with courtesans. And I was like, this is not, this is. This is not the Hulk from the Avengers that I'm familiar with. This is a different guy.
Hmm.
Very much so. But yeah, what an absolute treat. What a great book. And you have already mentioned World War Hulk. Do you think someone could treat this as standalone, or do you think it has to be treated as part one of two?
So I feel like if you like the way it's like written as like a true cliffhanger ending.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's like, could you read it standalone as it want? Sure, but you're going to be wanting more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. It is concise. Like, it does end with the war bond group being together, leaving,
Yeah,
and it's sort of being like, yeah. What do you sort of, if you do think of it as that's where it, if that is where it ended, what would it be saying about the war bond group? That it's those that you like go through tragedy and challenge with that will be
yeah,
with you at the end.
sure. But yeah, but I think it just gets once more to the whole like much more cynical, like
Hmm.
keep fighting because things never get better, but stick together. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, though. Yeah.
uh,
The very cynical, be with the people that are strong and can lift you up, because the war never ends.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so sad. Yeah, that's certainly the way to end it if you were to just have it as a one shot, which you arguably could. I mean,
Oh
there's
yeah,
lots of other medias that do end off a
yeah,
story like this.
and
So,
like it is the stronger of the two parts. So
mm,
like,
mhm.
yeah,
I mean, that's part of it as well, right? Like, it is so strong that it pushes you that you want to read the next one. You don't
yeah,
have to because it's strong enough to stand alone, but because it's so strong, you are compelled to see more of these characters. And I think it's really just shows off the emotional impact of what transpires that you want to see that vengeance because
yeah,
it's so unfair what has happened to Hulk. And he will be on my mind and on my screen slash book in the
yeah.
soon future so that I can
Are
get
are you
closure
like
to what's happened.
yeah? Are you much more of a Hulk fan now after reading this
Huge.
one? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, this is up there for one of my favorite comics of what we've read. I loved this. This was
interesting.
great. Um, yeah, I don't know what about it in particular just tickled that part of my brain that's like, this is a great comic. I think it's because it is also like it is a comic. It is
Oh yeah,
like it's a superhero character in a supernatural setting doing hero things. Like it's a pretty classic hero story that it was just so satisfying as a hero story and as a comic that I loved it. Because yeah, there's stuff that's great that's like Batman Year One, but part of that is also that's like a great film noir, dark mystery character deep dive. This is just like
yeah. Science
iconic
fiction,
kind of
fantasy,
comic.
superhero story.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, it just absolutely knocks it out of the park. Yeah. I assume you're a fan of this as well.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
One of these days I'm going to pick a comic I'm not a fan of just to see how that changes.
Just
Because
to,
basically everything we picked so far is something.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandably so. So when is there anyone that you say you wouldn't recommend this to?
I think the one, which is actually a thing that gets brought up occasionally when we're talking to people at the store, is Hulk is very popular with little kids. This might
Hmm.
not be the best story for like a 7-year-old.
I love that. Yeah, agreed. This is not a story for children.
Yes, but
No.
like one of the interesting Hulk is like the most popular superhero for like kids. Like,
Interesting.
yeah. I don't know if he's actually the most popular, but he's like incredibly popular.
I would assume Spider-Man's number one.
Yeah, Spider-Man's number problem. Spider-Man and like, I think Superman's also really popular, but like
Hmm.
I think Hulk's more popular with little kids than like Batman is.
Oh, why do you think that is?
I don't something about big, strong. I also know that this is completely going on a bit of a tangent here, but like I know a thing with action figures is like the Hulk body action figures are always the most popular with like 2 to 3 year old children.
Huh.
Like big, muscly, that kind of like look.
Interesting.
Those are the most popular with like really little kids, and I wonder if that like lots of people had like a Hulk doll when they were a kid or something, like a Hulk action figure, and that just
Hmm.
carries through or something like that.
Hmm. There's something that a social psychologist could do here
Oh,
about
no
the
doubt.
perception of masculinity and the way it's sort of infected uh, our upbringings. But alas, I am not a social psychologist, so I just think that Hulk is big and strong and cool, and I
Yes.
like to cheer for the big and strong and cool guy.
So he's also very distinct, which probably helps him out too.
That is
Like
true as well.
you see a lineup of like superheroes, and you can tell where you can always tell where the Hulk is in the lineup.
That's true. Um, yeah, my goodness. I think that's exactly it. I would recommend this to anyone and everyone except for children. This isn't an 18 plus thing, but if you
No,
should be
but
a teenager before you
yeah,
read this.
this is like PG-13, like the slightly higher end of PG-13.
Yeah, and that way you're also going to get all the different themes as well. The complicated stuff we've talked about around like identity and class warfare and racial warfare and There's a lot, yeah, a lot of themes going on, a lot of great character building going on. Just a awesome, awesome book. So if you haven't yet read Planet Hulk, this is your sign. Go read Planet Hulk. It is an absolute treat.
Our recommendation.
It is our recommendation. And again, you can scoop that up at Vesperia Comics. So, the second part, talking about Hulk in a different setting.
Yes, Hulk in
As we've
movies.
spoken to a little bit, Hulk in movies.
He is the second most highest grossing movie of all time. Prominently features him.
Yeah, therefore, many of us know him that way.
Yeah.
And that Hulk is very different than this Hulk. I cannot
Yes.
emphasize that enough. That Hulk is angry and dumb and uncontrollable, and not just by others, but even isn't really able to control himself. But then later on in the Avengers movies, he essentially just becomes Bruce Banner, is like himself,
Yeah.
except in Hulk
Off
form.
off screen, which is a little strange, but
Yeah. So as a comic, I assume you knew more about Hulk prior to the Avengers.
yes.
So then what was that experience like seeing the way he gets portrayed in film compared to the way that he comes across in the comic medium?
Well, I think it's kind of just expected at this point. Like I think I mentioned it. Yeah, as I said, like I think he's been like mischaracterized since.
Got it.
So it's just like, oh yes, of course the Hulk. Like
Wow.
it's been. I think last time I saw it, I was like 9. Did you ever watch that like the Ang Lee Hulk movie with Eric
Is this
Bana?
the one with Eric Bana? I was gonna say the one with Edward Norton.
No, because Edward Norton one is actually part of the MCU.
What?
Yeah,
Wait, there's two. I didn't realize that.
yeah,
No, I don't think I've seen the other one.
yeah. So there's the Eric Bana one from like 2003,
Yeah,
something like that.
2003. Yeah.
Yeah. And that one also kind of has like the it's been so long since maybe I just forgot. Honestly, I barely remember this movie. I just remember some like Hulk smashing and like lots of CG and like
Got it.
lots of like trying to be like tragic sadness thing, but it's like
Mm,
yeah. And this,
yeah.
that's the thing about so the Edward Norton one. It's like basically the only example of a like heavy duty recasting, or I guess the War Machine as well. But like he like of a main character in the MCU. Because
hmm
the Edward Norton one is the same character as the Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Oh, that's extremely confusing. I had no idea. Okay, but still same idea in that movie with Edward Norton as well, where Hulk is not intelligent
No.
and he's just sort of wild. That's so sad that everyone's like, yeah, he's just gonna be a dum dum again.
Yeah, and then also a lot of the comics make him less smart, but
Oh,
it's
interesting.
like he's generally like more. But yes, like comics are always make him like comics have a lot more need for dialogue, so most of the
Hmm,
time he's like speaking full sentences
right.
and stuff.
Interesting. Whereas in the films, it's a lot more action focused,
Yeah.
understandably so as well. Okay. That all checks out. That all makes sense. So then thinking about like depth of Hulk in the Avengers and in his movies, it's much more focused on Bruce. There isn't a lot of depth to Hulk. It's more Bruce's struggle.
Yes. Which once again, that's most Hulk comics feature much more of a combination of Bruce and Hulk. Like
That
Planet
makes
Hulk
sense.
is very unique in being like entirely about the Hulk.
Yeah, just about the Hulk, where
Yeah.
Bruce is almost arguably like a villain in it a little bit.
Yeah,
But
and that's a big part of a lot of Hulk stories is like Bruce does not like the Hulk. The
yeah.
Hulk does not like Bruce.
Well, I also my understanding is also that Bruce is not a good. I was reading a little bit online where people are just saying Bruce is also like not always a great guy.
No, no, no. Yeah,
Where he's like very self-centered and focused on the like scientific method
yeah,
at any cost.
yes. So like, yeah, like Bruce doesn't build Ultron, but like Bruce would have built Ultron.
Right. Uh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's which makes him again a much more deeper flawed character in the comics than he is in the movies.
Yeah.
Where really in the movies, Hulk is pretty. I mean, he's not one dimensional because he's too like dealing with this internal struggle around like anger,
Yeah.
but there's only so far you can sort of spin that. And then especially later on, once he's like able to fully control the form, which again is very confusing to see
Yeah,
in
which is also a thing that
retrospect.
happens in the comics at one point where
Oh, I've
Mr.
heard about Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk, yeah. And then also like
Wild.
Mr. Fix It when he becomes like a 90s gangster or like a 30s gangster.
Weird.
Yeah.
But very because I was talking to my wife about this. I was like, do you think that the Hulk is one person or two people? And she and I both agreed that from our experience with the movies, your understanding is that the Hulk is just a second, it's almost like a dual personality thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Where
it's
it's like the movie's much more treated like Bruce Banner loses control and then like
Mhm.
becomes the Hulk.
Yeah.
Which is the same idea, but it's more like Bruce Banner loses control and then Bruce Banner goes away and then the Hulk comes out.
Yeah. Which it's when you're saying it, it doesn't sound like a big difference, but it's absolutely a big difference. It's just
Yes.
hard to it's just hard to wrap your head around what that difference could look like because I got so used to what it looks like in the films. And so speaking about the one in particular, we wanted to mention Thor Ragnarok that pulls a lot of elements from this. It is also set on a world called Sakar. You have Korg the Rockman, you have Meek the Insect, you have the Gladiator Arena, you have Hulk in trapped in the Gladiator Arena, enslaved there.
Yeah.
You
You
have
have the discs and you have the
yeah, you have
yeah.
them rebelling and escaping. Well, in that one they rebel and escape, whereas obviously in Planet Hulk they rebel and take over the planet.
Yeah.
Um, but very, very different tonally.
Yes, which for the record, so I guess I actually so I read I didn't read this until like I relatively recently. Like I'd always known about it, but actually had never read it until I owned Vesperia.
Hmm.
So I experienced Thor Ragnarok first,
Hmm.
but I like still really like Thor Ragnarok, even though it's very different.
Yeah,
I still really like it. I think it's possibly the best MCU movie.
it's certainly up there. It's very
Yeah,
fun. I think it's very funny. It's very
yes,
light. It's great.
it
The action's good.
probably hits the line the best of like
Mhm.
seriousness with and also funniness.
Totally. Yeah, which is really interesting because this Planet Hulk is not funny.
No,
This is not a funny book.
no.
So why do you think Taika Waititi went for Planet Hulk as part of the Thor Ragnarok
Yeah, I mean,
inspiration,
for the Thor
considering,
movie, why did they pick a Hulk comic?
yeah, and what's with like the cognitive dissonance around genre?
Yeah. Uh, Obviously, I don't actually know but part of me wonders if like they started kind of having this idea for like the idea of Thor like losing his power and being trapped in another world and like the gladiators and all that, and they started to realize that it kind of fit. Planet Hulk
Hmm.
kind of fit that, so they were like bringing Hulk in and other characters and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Like this sounds worse than it is, but I like kind of wonder if they like retrofitted Planet Hulk into the story they already had rather than trying to adapt Planet Hulk.
Hmm. I could see that for sure. That they had an existing story, but then someone sort of saw a way to engage with the community a bit more and pull on a famous story with some of these characters. Maybe. I think that makes sense. Um, because it is, yeah, there's some very, very clear connections, but then just like you were mentioning earlier, Korg in comic versus film, fully different personality.
Yeah.
I don't even think Meek talks in the movie.
Meek does not talk in the movie. Meek is like easy to forget is in the movie.
Yeah, you would not notice that Meek was in the movie
Yeah,
unless you were
other
like,
than
wait
like
a
into the
second, I
joke of
love
like at the end,
Meek.
like Meek's dead. Oh no, what do you know? He's alive.
Yeah.
It's like that's like the most notable thing happens, and Meek does in the movie.
Yeah, so funny. But yeah, very, very interesting as a
Uh,
way to adapt. Really surprising. Do you think it's bad or do you think it's fine? Do you think it is what it
I think it's
is?
fine. Like I said, I was not a diehard Planet Hulk fan going in,
Hmm.
so I can't like have that perspective. But like as two separate things, they work great together, and
Yeah.
I can enjoy them both as they
I
are.
I think that is also what it is. If Thor Ragnarok wasn't good, people would eat them alive
Hey, what
for
do you know? What's this other fourth Thor movie I'm thinking about right now?
yeah, but they would be furious for one doing a bad Thor movie and two for like wasting the potential of
Yeah, well
Planet Hulk.
that's 100% part of Thor 4 as well. Because
Is that Love and Thunder, you mean?
Love and Thunder, yeah. So because like Gore the God Butcher is, but people had high hopes for that and like Almighty Thor and all that, and they were just squandered.
Yeah, I hate that movie.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's a slightly overhated, but
Uh,
it's still not a good movie.
yeah, I think it's not a good movie. I think part of it is also the like expectation after the high of Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
Because it was the one that followed up right after, right?
like right after Endgame.
No, I meant in terms of like the Thor movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there.
because it was Thor, then Thor Dark World, then Thor Ragnarok, then Thor Love and
Yeah,
Thunder.
but of course there's also Avenger movies, which is the big thing. Avengers,
Yes.
Infinity War, and Endgame take place between
Mhm.
uh, yes, and like you can debate Thor is the main character of well, I guess him and Iron Man are like the two main characters of those movies.
Yeah, poor Captain America.
Well,
But
yeah,
hey,
but
guess what,
Captain America,
Steve? You have
Captain
no
America is
depth,
great. Just you can
so
only have so much of a character arc for Captain America.
yeah, exactly. You have no depth, Steve. Therefore,
Yeah.
you reach a point. Yeah. So it is really interesting that Thor Ragnarok kind of hits that perfect middle spot between being goofy but being good action and paying homage to Planet Hulk without being an adaptation of it is
Yes.
a good way to sort of frame that. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok somehow, yeah, that's a
Yeah. Go watch it.
great movie.
It's kind of crazy too, because like the first two Thor movies are kind of like looked at as the black sheep of the early MCU.
Yeah, because they're good. I like those ones.
Yeah,
They're
they're
well, they're fine. The
the
first one in particular.
Thor one I actually really like.
Yeah.
Thor two is like now looking at it now, I probably would be much more happy about it. But like when it
Right.
came out, MCU was just hitting banger after banger after banger. So like a
Mm,
7 out of 10 was like notable.
right. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, being middling is not as good when you're yeah, surrounded by greatness and then you realize later just how good we had it for so long.
Yeah, God, it's. Want to talk about a little bit about the MCU now?
Yeah, sure, because I think the we've hit a good note there. So thinking about the MCU and where it's at now,
Yeah.
yeah, what are your thoughts about the because it's kind of trying to do a weird comeback right now with like Thunderbolts is doing well. They're doing a lot of really interesting with their TV series with Wonder Man,
Yeah,
but it's disjointed.
it's so disjointed because it's always the thing to think about. Like, I watched every single Marvel. I believe I
Mm,
watched every single Marvel movie the opening weekend
hmm,
between Iron Man 1 and Infinity War or
hmm.
Endgame. Actually, no,
Yep.
I don't think that's I don't. Well, whatever, close to it at least. And actually, I think I watched Iron Man 2 on DVD, but like whatever.
Yeah.
For the most part, I watched every single. But like now, it's like I can't even get excited for Doomsday. Like I'll probably go see it,
Oh, that's
but
right.
it's like, eh,
Yeah, and a lot of people cite it as being because of fatigue. But do you think that that still rings true? Because at this point, how long ago was Endgame?
Endgame was 2019.
Yeah, so we're 7 years later.
Yeah,
Can you still blame fatigue as a reason that there's not as much hype around Avengers Doomsday?
which I think the first thing I think that it gets brought up, which I don't think enough people mention, is there's always this like thought that like it's so hard to keep up with the with Marvel. And it was always like, no. No, it's not. It's
Hmm.
2 movies a year, three if there's a Spider-Man movie. Like that
Right.
is realistically not that hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
But now it is actually way harder to keep up with the MCU because they're
Mm-hmm.
dropping full-on television shows and all that stuff. So it is much harder to keep up.
Yeah, it does get much harder because you have to be watching the shows at the same time. And so, Avengers Doomsday, you mentioned you're not excited about it. Do you think you will go see it? Do you think you'll wait for reviews? Will you wait for it to come out on?
I'll definitely wait for reviews before but I'll probably end up seeing it. Like it's too much of an event of comic books.
Mm. But do you think it is I mean, I guess it's an event of comic books, but
Yeah.
it's not the same global event that it
No.
was.
No. Well, that's the big I think a classic example is like, do you think it's going to how will its box office compare to Age of Ultron?
Hmm,
Do you think it will do
interesting.
better or worse than Age of Ultron?
I would assume, well, I would assume worse, but I also realize I'm not as like involved with the community as I was at that point.
Yeah, well, there
When,
used to be everyone was the community. There didn't used to be like a community you had to pay attention to.
mhm, yeah, right. But my guess is that
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
if it does worse than Age of Ultron, like the MCU is in trouble.
yeah, they're hoops because then they have another Avengers to try and get to. I mean, part of it is I don't even know who's part of the Avengers anymore.
Everyone, everyone is part of that's part of the weirdness of this
Oh
movie.
man,
That like they just announced like the first preview of this movie was just like the cast list, and it was everyone.
yeah,
It was like Patrick Stewart's going to be in it
really? Oh my
as
gosh.
professor. Like all the X-Men are coming back, and
Oh God.
yeah, both Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are going to be in it. Yeah,
That's too much. I do think part of what worked with the Avengers before is that you had your base.
yeah.
What is it? Five, six?
It's us. So the original Avengers was six.
Yeah, you got your base six, and like sure you can add on a couple of like extras here and there with like Strange and Black Panther and Captain Marvel, but like you still have your base six.
Yeah, and then Endgame did the great move of like temporarily killing off basically everyone except for those main six.
Yeah, it was man. A different time,
Different
the
time.
a different kind of cinematic experience. But yeah, we'll see where MCU goes from here. Hey, maybe we'll have to figure. Oh, we can do some future planning and watch or read what is it the Doom book before the movie.
Oh, a Doctor Doom book. Yeah, I was kind of planning on that one. And
Yeah, the
also like spoil. Yeah, I guess spoilers for the next graphic novel we're doing. We're going to be listening to the movie. We'll be following the movie schedule for that one too.
there you go. Hey, I think that's super exciting and fun,
Super.
but
Yes, it is. It's super.
womp womp. Dun dun dun. Love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, main thing, if you're taking anything away from this discussion, just go watch Thor Ragnarok, but you probably already have, and go watch the original Avengers, but you probably already have.
Yeah, and then go watch
Um,
Infinity War and Endgame, but you probably already
but you
have.
already have. If you're gonna watch a TV series, of the ones that I've seen, I mean, there's actually some decent ones, but Moon Knight was fine. I liked Wonder Man as like a different pace. WandaVision was fine until it got Marvelly.
Mhm.
And Thunderbolts is apparently good. Spence has talked about it before, but I
Yeah, well,
still have to see it.
it's a fun, yeah, and also like luckily enough, Thunderbolts didn't feel like was being held back too badly by other media, but like I guess a lot of those characters you wouldn't know if you
Nope.
didn't pay attention.
There you go. So now, as we're winding down towards the end of the episode, of course, we need to introduce what's next on the reading docket. So, Spence, what do the fine folks at home and I get to look forward to reading next?
I asked you a little bit ago if you'd be willing to do some slightly darker stuff. So today we will be doing Takopi's Original Sin. It's our next one.
Original Sin.
Takopi about the Takopi, a little alien from the planet Happy who comes to Earth to show us all to make everyone happy and kind of gets a little more than he bargained for.
Takopi's Original Sin. Oh, that's like the name. It's not written by someone named
No,
Takopi.
no, that's the name of the character.
Oh, okay, interesting. Is this like a long running series? Does it
No,
have a?
it's a single book. Like it's one book is the entire series.
Oh, great,
Yeah,
cool.
recently had a anime. It was like 5 episodes long. So
Ooh, okay. Well, I will first read and then watch, maybe, depending on how dark we're talking. But all
it's
right.
yeah, it's dark.
So, okay. So this is a content warning for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, especially if you don't like children. It like yeah.
Okay,
If you're not a fan of child abuse,
which no one is,
no, it is. But like
but
if you're particularly squeamish about it, you might want to skip this next
okay,
one.
if you have challenges around children
Yeah,
in peril or children encountering
yeah. But
traumatic
bullying
situations,
and child abuse are the two big ones.
okay, got it. Woof. We are, man, what an interesting conversation we will be
Yeah, but
having
look at
next
this happy little
episode.
pink octopus alien. What? It'll all be happy, right?
Yeah, look at the cute little pink octopus. So, if you are up for the challenge, emotionally prepared and mentally strong, you can pick up Takopi Original Sin at VesperiaComics.com for pickup at Vesperia Manga and Comics if you're in the lower mainland of British Columbia, or you can also order that for Canada-wide shipping. And that's it for episode 37 of the Long Comics Book Club. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure to follow the show on your preferred podcast platform, as well as Long Comics Book Club on Blue Sky and Instagram. And get in the Discord to share your own thoughts on anything we talked about today, whether that is Planet Hulk, the MCU, or Takopi Original Sin in advance of the June 6th podcast. Again, content warning. Care for yourself. Be aware that there are some mature themes in Takopi Original Sin before you engage with that kind of material. You can look up online whatever it is exactly that we are horrifically alluding to. But we will be going through the journey together if you choose to do so. And we will talk to you then. Bye bye.
See ya.
I'm so scared.
I asked you if you could go with it.
That's true. I have no one to blame but myself.
Yeah.